Okay, thank you, Devin.
Okay, you're live.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Today's Tuesday, February 15, 2022, and I hope you had a great Valentine's Day. And we're here for a town board and a community development agency meeting. And as always, we're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Bob, can you please take the lead?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bob. And Frank, do we have someone from the faith community with us today?
Yes, we do. Thank you. Today we have with us the Reverend Mary Cooper from the House of Praise Christian Revival Center, one of our favorites. We always enjoy having her here. She's always so inspirational. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Would you please stand? Father, we thank you for another opportunity to come before your presence. Where you said where two or three are gathered, you're in the mission. We thank you for being here with us. We ask your blessing upon the town board, oh God, and the supervisors, that they will continue to receive your wisdom, your honor, and your knowledge, oh God, that they will have mercy on all of the citizens, that we can come together and have a good community. We thank you, oh God. We praise you for watching over us and be kind to us with the snow. We thank you and we bless you. We ask, oh God, that all those who are here, that their families will be continued to be watched over. Keep them from hurt, harm, and danger. And we give you all the praise, the glory, and the honor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so
Amen.
much, Reverend.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you, Reverend. Before we get started, I want to make a brief announcement. As you know, there is no resolution on the agenda this evening relating to EPCAL and CAT. The public should know that the board has spent almost 1 year trying to figure out on what to do next that is best for the entire town as it relates to the CAT contract. This board and every member on it inherited the contract with CAT, and we have to work with what we have been given. Our end goal is economic development, restore to the tax roll, and continue jobs, all while protecting open space and wildlife. We have heard the public on these issues, and we know that there are necessary hurdles to overcome to achieve this economic development. There are other obstacles as well, most significantly, the subdivision. The town has been unable to subdivide this property. Specifically, the DEC has acted outside the scope of its authority by demanding that prior to allowing subdivision, the Suffolk County Water Authority be given the opportunity to serve the property. The Riverhead Water District has been serving the EPCAL property for many years, and the Suffolk County Water Authority has been trying to obtain control of our water district for almost the same amount of years. However, we will not allow the loss of local control of the quality of our water, the pricing of our water, by allowing the Suffolk County Water Authority to take over our district. We all strongly believe that maintaining local control of the town water supply is the best interest of all our residents in the town of Riverhead. The failure of the DEC to allow us to subdivide the land put us in a holding pattern and forced us to think more creatively. As a result, the town board agreed to consider a transfer of the property to the IDA under the conditions and assurances that we are going to work together as a town board and require such a transaction. Today, as not all of the goals, assurances that we agreed verbally upon by CAT and the town board, we have now determined not to move forward and will not introduce the resolution. The town board hopes to continue its efforts to achieve the goals and the assurances, or may not, and will shortly convene again to discuss this critical matter further. One thing that we agree on is that it is important to pursue this alternative option so that, if possible, we can move the matter forward to determine if CAT is able to keep the promises made in the contract. The terms of that contract, which again were inherited, remain fully intact in this alternative process. Under the alternative plan, CAT must continue to provide the additional safeguards of the 1,000+ acres and ensure that this property remains preserved forever. Additionally, we should not do anything to compromise the integrity and longevity of our water district, which this town is overwhelmingly in favor of. The benefits of the alternative plan are, most importantly, that we chart our own course to the future. If CAT is unable to meet the conditions in the contract, which includes a deep and thorough vetting of their finances through the IDA, we would, within approximately 6 months, be entitled to payment for the property in the sum of $40 million, and perhaps most importantly, have the property returned back to the tax rolls. This will immediately generate approximately $1 million of revenue annually that will be paid to the town and to the school district upon the redevelopment of the property. Greater more taxes will also be paid out by CAT. I have listened to all of you. I walked all summer speaking with all of you. You voted for me to take that voice to this seat, and I want you to know I am solution-driven. That is why we are considering this alternative path. I have listened to the public and our lawyers and believe fully that this plan will put the town in a better position than we are now. However, if we move forward in this direction, the plan must be right. We need to get it right this time. We won't go forward unless that is the case. We are hopeful that CAT will be able to establish that they are qualified and eligible to move this urban renewal project forward. But if that is not the case, if that is not the case, then we should also move forward. Excuse me. I assure you that if the town board does decide to continue these efforts and achieves its desired goal, the town board will we will notice it to the public at a work session, and we're going to continue to further discuss the transaction. Moving forward, can I have a first and a second to close the town board meeting and open the community development meeting?
Motion? Second.
All in favor? All opposed? So moved.
Aye.
Dawn Thomas, our CDA director, will now, can you please come forward?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great.
We have a short agenda, but an exciting agenda this evening. So just initially, we have the approval of the minutes of the CDA meeting, regular meeting of January 19th, but we have some correspondence relating to the EPCAL property transaction with CAT. And we have one resolution on the agenda which accepts a recommendation of Railroad Street TOD Committee to designate RXR GGV as the master developer for the TOD, and authorizes the CDA and NDC to commence negotiation on the relevant terms. Do you want to approve the minutes first, or do you want to do those resolutions together? Because we could take comments on that resolution if you're inclined.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous session, January 19th.
Second.
Kern. Vote, please. Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrat.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes,
The minutes of the January 19th, 2022, 6 p.m. meeting are approved, and we have the one resolution on, and I guess we can take comment on that resolution if there is any. Oh, yes, go right.
We just want to remind everybody that they'll have a 5-minute limit on the comments they can make today. We ask for your name and your hamlet, and any back and forth with the board, of course, won't stop the clock, and that applies to folks on Zoom as well. Thank you.
Hi, Laura Jen Smith from Laurel. I just wanted to say that I'm very happy that this resolution is going forward. I think it's very excited. It's been a long blighted area for a long time. I just saw little snippets of the project, but it certainly looks like it falls within the pattern book that the town worked very hard to do, and it looks like it's going to be really help revitalize that area and connect it to downtown. So I just wanted to say that I think everybody did a good job vetting, and I'm happy to see that area getting some new projects in it. You know, it's been a long haul.
The
Yes.
committee did do a great job, and also thank you, because you participated in this when you were in office, and the ball got rolling, and this is something we've been working on for a while, so we appreciate your input also.
It's exciting.
Yes, it is.
Thanks,
Yes.
Laura.
It is.
Thank you.
Hi, Ellen Hoyle, Riverhead. I just had one question, because I
Ellen,
didn't...
just pull that mic down.
Yeah. Sorry. I just had one question, because I couldn't tell from the rendering. So they're talking about the project being 4 to 5-story parking, and then on top of that, 200 apartments plus retail? Or are they separate buildings?
I don't think they've actually reached that yet. I think this is all very
Okay,
preliminary.
because I was thinking, I was like, that sounds like
Yeah.
a 10-story building.
No, it's all very preliminary, and I don't think they've
Okay.
decided parking up, down, retail,
Okay.
whatever it's gonna be
All right, thanks a
yet.
lot.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Chip, do we have anyone virtually?
Not for resolutions.
Okay.
And just to address the prior speaker's comments, the parking in the proposal that we've vetted and now are approving is wrapped within the building, so there'll be no parking showing on the outside in the building. I think it's proposed to be 4 and 5 stories potentially. So I guess we can go ahead with that resolution.
Go ahead.
res-
Dawn, call the vote.
Sure. CDA Resolution 2022, number 3, accepts recommendation of the Riverhead Railroad Street Transit Oriented Development Committee to designate RXR GGV as master developer for transit-oriented development, and authorizes the Community Development Agency and NDC, which is National Development Council, to commence negotiation of relevant terms to proceed pursuant to general municipal law, qualified and eligible hearing.
So I'll make it so moved.
Second.
Okay, we'll call the vote. Kern?
Yes.
Rothwell?
Yes.
Bayrat?
Very excited to vote yes, yes.
Hubbard?
Excitingly, yes, without a doubt. Thank you, Dawn.
Oh, thank you. Aguirre?
Yes, and Dawn, thank you for all your efforts. It's been incredible.
Thanks to the board and the TOD committee. I think we can open up
Open
for
comments?
comments from the public, yes. On any matter.
Any CDA matter?
Any,
Kathy McGraw, Riverhead.
no, Chip,
Good evening. Oh, excuse me, Supervisor.
go ahead.
Did you- Okay. Good evening, Kathy McGraw from Northville. In preparation for these comments, I was on the Riverhead website, and I noticed, Supervisor Aguiar, that on that website, you stated, and I quote, I'm keeping with Abraham Lincoln's mantra, you serve the people best when you serve them first. I will serve the Riverhead residents first. And in keeping with those words, I'd like to thank you for deferring the EPCAL resolution until we have more information and the approach has been finalized. But I would also ask that in addition to deferring, you give serious consideration to an open meeting, a forum, an informational forum, where the terms of this agreement can be explained to the residents of Riverhead, and the residents can ask questions. I listened twice to Frank Eisler's attempt last week at the last week's work session to explain this new approach. I'm not criticizing it, I just don't understand it. Despite a sincere effort to figure out how it will work, I'm just unable to do so. And I heard your comments tonight, Supervisor, and they raised even more additional questions for me. I know you want to protect the Riverhead Water District, but as I understand it, this new approach has CAT obtaining the subdivision approval from the DEC. And I don't see any reason why. I heard Mr. Kent say once before, they'd like to have Riverhead provide the water, but they don't really care who provides the water. So I'm not saying this won't work, but I just don't understand how it will work. And likewise, I really appreciate the idea of protecting the 1,000 acres, but I also don't understand how that will be accomplished once the land is transferred to CAT. There's nothing, you say the contract, the terms of the contract remain, but this contract is being blown up by this new approach. And there's nothing in the old contract that protects those 1,000 acres. And so I'd really like to know how that's going to be accomplished. And I'm not asking you to answer any of these questions tonight. I'm asking seriously because this has been going on for 4 years and there are an awful lot of people, residents of Riverhead, who have spent hours and hours and hours on this. And we sincerely would like the opportunity to understand what you all are planning with respect to this new approach. And I hope you'll consider that, and I thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you, Kathy. And we'll take your comments into consideration, and I understand some of your concerns. Some of those questions will be addressed in the resolution that when we transfer the property over, but there's more to come. And I'm taking notes of your comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Chip?
Yes, I have John McCullough coming in.
Okay.
Okay, can you see me? Okay. All right, I think we're working now.
Good evening, John.
Good evening, how are you? So
thank you.
are you COVID bound or?
No, I'm not COVID bound. I went to a conference and taken a few days off, but
Okay.
I'm still working, as you
All
can see.
right, no, I having been through it myself,
Yeah.
of the Omicron, I know things happen without any intention.
Okay.
John McAuliffe, obviously from Rolling Woods. 1 point, first of all, is to thank you and the board for postponing this action, this resolution. I think there was I gather from the local story that there are a substantial number of letters, and I think that reflects the concern that the public has about this, since it all happened very quickly. Second, I think there is a crucial difference between simply bringing this again to a work session and bringing it to public hearing by the board. And I certainly hope that you will do a public hearing so that members of the board, and especially so Mr. Eisler, can explain what his intention is. We have to remember how warm the representative of the Germasians was at the last session you had with him about how excellent an attorney Mr. Eisler was, and I suspect that we have to be concerned as to whose interest he's representing based on that applause from Mr. Kent. The other point I want to make is that I think you really have enough information that you don't have to go to that complicated, convoluted process. In the provisions for what qualified and eligible means, they include demonstrated integrity and responsibility. I mean, we have over the last several years cited all kinds of serious questions about the Germasians. We know about Daniel Preston's questions of integrity. But then last week, the article about the fact that 555, through another of its affiliates, is under serious legal sanction by the US government for trying to sell counterfeit hand sanitizer. A hand sanitizer which the FDA said was dangerous and should go to a hazardous waste container. I think it's really time for the board to recognize that these people are not an appropriate partner, that there's absolutely no reason to believe, no matter how many dog and pony shows they put on and how nicely their attorney speaks, there's absolutely no reason to believe that they will deliver what they say they're going to deliver, and that we really have to worry, given about their financial situation, that they will say whatever you want to hear, take possession of the land, and then flip it so they get the desperately needed money that they need. Since the real value of the land is substantially higher than 40 million or 40 plus one, if I were in their situation, I think that's exactly what I would do, is see the Riverhead land as a great chance to improve my financial situation. So I hope that, A, you will bring this to a public hearing by the board so that you and Mr. Eisler can receive serious questions, and B, I actually hope that you simply, based on your own judgment, throw this deal out, because this business with hand sanitizer, I don't know how much clearer it needs to be, the kind of people that you're dealing with. Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, John. Dawn, do we have anyone else?
Can I go ahead? Sure. Phil Barbado, Jamesport. I want to thank the
Good evening.
board. Sorry?
Good evening, how are you?
Oh, good evening to you. I just want to thank the board for putting this off, and I think that, as other people have described, we really need a public session with questions and answers, give and take, so that the citizens of this town can understand what is being planned with this transition to CDA. It's very complicated, and it's hard for the average person to understand, and I think it would be very helpful if we could explain it in detail so that the average citizen could understand it. I think that, as has been said, there's also another approach that could be taken here, and I would encourage you to consider that as well. There's no reason why we cannot terminate this contract and get back to a firm footing and a good beginning for the future of this town. There's just no reason. T5 or CAT still can't adequately describe their project, which is why it's been given a notice of incompleteness by the DEC. And without that, there's no way that DEC is going to approve the subdivision. It's obvious that they're in financial difficulty, and it is possible that this project might salvage them in a way that would not benefit the citizens of Riverhead. They're going to get this thing for practically nothing and turn it over within a short amount of time to who knows what. And I think you should consider that possibility. The CAT people are not going to develop what we think they're going to develop or what they've promised to develop, and they haven't proven that they can do that even. So I beg you to really consider this as a possibility, that termination and starting over is the best approach. It's not going to take us years and years to be in court. The contract clearly describes if the subdivision is not approved by a certain date, which was like a couple of years ago, either party can terminate the contract without consequence. No judge in the world would say, oh yeah, you have a case there, Cat. Let's get rid of this thing and start over again and really do it right this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. I understand your concerns. Chip, do we have anyone else?
Not in Zoom.
Okay, Dawn?
Hi, Ellen Hoyle, Riverhead. I have a question, well, not really a question. I just want to say thank you for putting this off, this vote, and I'd like to hope that you would put on a public forum as was requested by Ms. McGraw and let the people understand exactly what the proposed agreement would look like. For instance, there was discussion this morning on the radio about how the real purpose of this was to get a better financial situation out of the deal for Riverhead, but I don't understand how that would look, because if you're putting it before the IDA is going to give them abatements, so it sounds to me like you're walking away with the $40 million and that's it. So I would love the opportunity to have an open discussion on how this is going to look. So I appreciate you guys not voting on this today. Thank you.
Okay, Helen, thank you.
Hi, Laura Jen Smith again from Laurel. I was going to wait to speak on this, but I just wanted to point something out. You all know that I'm very familiar with the contract and the sale of EPCAL. One question that I do have, and I heard when you were coming up with how to go through the IDA, was that the town would not then bear the expense of going through the DEC, and that 555 was willing to take on the cost of that and to present it to the DEC. And so, since you do know that they are able to do that, why cannot the town just work with them to amend that portion of the contract where it states that the town would be the one to bring it, to pay and to bring it through the DEC, to amend the contract and just have CAT bring that through and pay for it through the DEC? It would be a simple amendment to the contract, and the town, as elected officials, would still maintain control over the decision of whether to complete the contract at the end and sign off on it, rather than relegating that duty to the IDA, which is unelected officials. You know, you've sat through the qualified and eligible, you've been in charge of this property and bringing it to fruition. So I would hope that the board would consider doing that and working with 555 to achieve that through you. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll just respond, Laura.
Thank you.
I don't know that would anyway expedite us getting a subdivision from the DEC, whether we're in charge or 555 is in charge of following that route. I think we're still, whether they're doing or we're doing it, it still puts us in a long-term holding pattern. And so how many years do we want to wait out before we make a move?
I don't disagree with you, but all of your abdicating all of your responsibility to the IDA to make the decisions, when it should be retained with the town board, and you can do that simply by amending the contract to have the DEC, that have 555, as you are doing with the IDA, to go through and get the subdivision. I don't disagree with you that it's going to make it any faster or not any faster who goes to the DEC to obtain the subdivision. It's a difficult process, and, you know, hopefully with giving the 1,000 acres back, will make it a quicker process than has been in the past. But the overall decision of whether to go through and sell this property to 555 would remain with the board. And I believe that as elected officials, it is your responsibility to have control over the town's largest asset that was given to the town to determine, and not to hand it off to another entity to make the final decision. And that's my point in it. Thank you.
That's something that we need to discuss with legal counsel. And I thank you, Laura, but you did sign the contract, and now we're trying to move forward from it. And that's more of a legal matter for the town attorney and special counsel to address. But thank you for your comments.
I just wanted to point out, I know you've mentioned it quite a few times, that I did sign the contract. I did sign the contract because I was a member of the town board. I did not vote for the contract, but with as the chief officer of the town, as you well know, that the signature on resolutions that have been passed by majority of the board, whether you approve it or don't vote for it, do get signed by the chief executive officer. I was the chief executive officer at the time. The resolution was put through. It was a 3-2 vote. The majority did vote to move forward with the contract. So as the officer, I did have to put my signature on it, but that does not mean that I voted for it. And that was done by resolution back when Sean was in office, that once the qualified and eligible was completed, a determination was made. If they were qualified and eligible, then the contract would then be signed at that point. And so I had fulfilled my obligation as a member of the board and the supervisor of the town, but it wasn't that I made a determination that, you know, I was for this contract. In fact, I voted against it. So I just
Thank
wanted
you
to
for your
clear that.
comment, Laura. Moving forward, Dawn, do we have anyone else?
Doesn't look like there's anybody else. No, nobody on Zoom? Oh, sorry.
Astrid Lehman, Baiting Hollow. My
Nice.
issue for coming here tonight is a little bit different. It's a little more general. We have actually two parts to Riverhead, the EPCAL property and then downtown. And one of my issues is when I go downtown and I see the development, I know you just approved the development of multi-story buildings at Railroad Avenue, and that might be a really good thing. I haven't seen the renderings. I'm really hoping that it is a good thing. I just want to bring it to your attention that as many buildings as have been built, each one of them seems at least that much less appealing. They
Ma'am,
seem-
just to interrupt you, this is just the CDA open comment period, so I just want to redirect any of your comments to a CDA-related matter, otherwise you
Just
can
that
hang out
you-
and wait, because then we're going to have an open comment period
Okay.
later in the meeting for any other topic related
Right.
to town board matters.
Does the CDA control anything downtown?
The questions that you can answer now would be specifically CDA. So if you want to talk about those now, you can, otherwise we'll ask you to wait for town board.
Can we just,
Astrid Lehman?
So if we have anybody else, we'll take other comments, otherwise I think we can move forward.
Okay, Dawn, did you
Okay.
want to close the CDA meeting?
There being no further comments on CDA matters and all business been attended to, we can move to close the CDA meeting and reopen the town board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell,
yes.
Ayrat,
Yes.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The CDA meeting is closed and the town board meeting is open.
Thank you, Dawn, and can I have a first and a second to approve the town board meeting, minutes from the town board meeting on February 1st, 2022, please?
Motion?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved.
Aye.
Diane, can you call the vote to approve the minutes, please?
Sure. Kern,
Yes.
Rothwell.
yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
The minutes are approved.
And Diane, do we have any communications or reports?
Yes, we have, there's a correction here. It's actually 11 letters that I received concerning the renaming of Cliff Road in Wading River. And there were 6 letters regarding the proposed site plan application of the Baiting Hollow Farm Vineyard. Kathy McGraw sent a letter with comments on proclamations and press releases. And I will mention, even though it's on the CDA agenda, that I did get, at last count, 55 letters concerning the transfer of the EPCAL property from CDA to IDA. There was a lot on that. Under reports, the building department submitted their January 2022 monthly report, and that was $66,566. Town clerk, January monthly report, $10,000.13. Tax receiver, total tax collection to date as of February 2nd was $91,163,849.50. Tax receiver, January utility collection report was $423,575. And the tax receiver total tax collection to date as of February 9th was $91,678,074.69. And that's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Diane. Moving forward, the time now is 6:39, and we're going to open up the meeting to one public hearing that we have scheduled. It was scheduled for 6:05 for the consideration of a proposed local law entitled Local Law to Increase Salary of Town Highway Superintendent for 2022 fiscal year, subject to permissive referendum. I'll ask Deputy Town Attorney Anne Marie Prudenti to please come forward to discuss this topic. Anne Marie?
She's on her way.
So
by way of background,
Good evening.
good evening, sorry about that. So
How are
pursuant to the provisions of town law, the salaries of the supervisor, members of the town board, town clerk, and highway superintendent must be set forth in the preliminary budget. If you deviate from that which is set forth in the preliminary budget and seek to increase the salary of those elected officials I listed, then a local law is required. To be clear, and I believe I might have read in a comment in a paper or something, that this is an immediate raise for the newly elected highway superintendent. To be clear, the town board is well aware, but to be clear to the public, this is additional compensation for managing the municipal garage. The public and town board will also be aware, but back in 2018, when there was some reorganization, the previous highway superintendent, Geo Woodson, an identical local law was presented and adopted, giving him the identical amount of money. Since newly elected highway superintendent Mike Zaleski took office, he has in fact been managing the garage. I will note to the members of the public and the town board, this local law is not retroactive. Instead, it'll be prorated based upon the effective date of the local law.
Okay.
I'm just shocked, Anne Marie, that you said somebody made a comment that wasn't true. I find that hard to believe.
Correct. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Anne Marie. Do we have anyone in the audience that would like to come forward?
Someone's coming forward.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Ellen Hoyle, Riverhead. Anne Marie might be able to answer this because I'm a little confused about the math. So in 2018, there was the resolution that was for GEO, that was for the identical amount of money for an increase in salary, or was that a stipend? It was salary. So was that a permanent increase salary?
So if I may,
Yep, okay.
pursuant to the provisions of town law, if you move by local law,
No, that's not my question. My question is, okay, so they increased his salary by $20,000 back in 2018.
correct.
Was that a permanent increase? Meaning
Well,
that
No.
was now the highway
No.
superintendent's
No.
salary?
No.
So what happened in 2019,
Pursuant to his duties.
what the town board did in the preliminary budget was they then identified his additional duties and the 20,000 increase for municipal garage plus highway. So it was put forth out there. So no local law was required because his, quote, total salary was in fact posted.
Okay, so now I'm confused again. So what happened in 2019 to the $20,000 that he got in 2018?
He received it
He
in
received it in
2019.
18. So that was, like, there was no additional law in 2020, nothing happened?
No,
So it never happened?
no, it happened in 2018, in my understanding. And
Because
I'm not-
I remember vaguely that there was a vote, Diane or Tim or somebody might remember this, that there was a vote with Geo about the garage and his request for additional monies, and it was denied.
No,
Was
it
that
was
the same?
approved.
It was approved.
The first
Yeah.
articles that came out about it, the then town board.
I'm just going by my
No,
own
no,
recollection.
and
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
remember
totally.
it like it was yesterday. The then town board actually determined to do their due diligence and investigate the different options, including whether it was more appropriate for the police chief to oversee municipal garage, whether or not they wanted to bounce it back, because at one time Larry Levy, under Sean Walter, had been managing municipal garage. It was ultimately
So now-
determined, and I can tell you emphatically, that Councilman Hubbard actually reported in a press article to Riverhead Local that he did his due diligence and was supportive
Okay.
of the
this-
local law.
Of this new one,
No.
of the old one.
Of back in 2018.
That's what's confusing, because they're the same dollar value.
We're
Well,
asking,
of course,
Yeah.
because the duties, the town board is being consistent. It was $20,000 then for Highway Superintendent Woodson for taking over municipal garage. And it is the same $20,000 that is proposed by local law for the now Highway Superintendent.
Okay. So-
Anne Marie, can I just say, we're asking somebody to do something
I
outside of the
understand
scope
that.
of their normal,
Yes, I
regular
understand
duties,
that.
and
That is
therefore they
correct.
expect to
I
get paid for
understand
that.
that entirely.
Ellen, what happened was, when Gio was here, he got the $20,000
Yes,
each
I
year
remember
for
that.
it. Gio retired, Mike Zaleski ran and got elected. Mike Zaleski ran and got elected at the highway superintendent's salary minus that $20,000.
But
That's
that-
why
that-
we're doing
that's
this
part of my
tonight,
questions.
to add that
So at
back.
what point was the investigation of the determination that the $20,000 should be part of the highway superintendent's salary determined?
It's not part of the highway superintendent, he's doing something
But
outside of
that's
the
what I mean,
normal scope of
additional-
his job.
but I know, I'm just wording it wrong. So the additional duties, you said that there was an investigation as to whose role that should be.
Correct.
And is it that now we're deciding that this is part of
No,
it?
so back in 2018,
Yeah,
after the then town board investigated what was the best department
okay.
to oversee municipal garage, the then town board determined it was the highway department.
Okay.
And I can.
And ever since then, every year, it's been the highway department?
Yes.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Great. Chip, do we have anyone online, virtually?
negative.
Devin, do we have anyone in the audience?
Looks like nobody else, Supervisor.
Does the town board members want to make comment on this? No? Okay, so we are going to now close the public portion of this hearing, and we're going to leave it open for written comments for 14 days until 4:30 PM on Tuesday, April 1st, 2022, at the town clerk's office, and the time is 6:47, and this public hearing is now closed. So this concludes our public hearing portion of our meeting, and we're now going to move on to public comments on the resolutions before us today. Does anyone wish to be heard? Devin, is anyone in the meeting room or in town hall want to comment?
Anybody for comments on the resolutions before the board today? Doesn't look like we have anybody, Supervisor.
All right, moving forward to resolutions. Diane, can you please call the resolution for today?
Certainly. Resolution 142.
Probably mine, right? Of course. Just when you expect it. Tag Building HVAC project budget adoption, so moved. Thank you.
Seconded?
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 143.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for 2022 concession vendors, parks and beaches. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 144.
Authorizes town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for charter buses. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 145.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for sporting goods. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 146.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for fertilizer and lawn chemicals, so moved.
Second?
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 147.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for 2022 annual procurement contract. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 148.
Authorizes the town clerk to publish and post notice to bidders for 2022 annual construction contract. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 149.
Awards RFP for audit services for the town of Riverhead. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 150.
Awards RFP for audit services for Town of Riverhead Justice Court. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 151.
Approves engineering department request for change order number 2 related to bid for demolition of 117 East Main Street and 121 East Main Street Town Square. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 152.
Approves special event Chapter 255 application for the American Cancer Society, Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, Long Island. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 153.
Approve special event Chapter 255 application for New York Marine Rescue Center Paddle Battle, Long Island. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 154.
Approve special event Chapter 255 application PC Richards Memorial Day barbecue tent sale. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 155.
Approves special event Chapter 255 application for Peconic Pathfinders Earth 5K, 15K Run, Walk, Hike. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 156.
Reassigns the salary of the senior building inspector. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 157.
Appoints an assistant water district superintendent. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 158.
Appoints a provisional site plan reviewer. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 159.
Ratifies authorization for sewer district employees to attend seminars. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 160.
Authorizes sewer district employees to attend seminar, March of 2022. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 161.
Ratifies the approval to extend the LOA. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 162.
Authorizes the increase of the petty cash account and designation of additional custodian for the town engineering department. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 163.
Adopts 2022 investment policy. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguiar.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 164.
Appoints the law firm of Smith, Finkelstein, Lundberg, Eisler, and Yakubowski LLP to act as special counsel, non-protunct, in the civil action entitled Town of Riverhead versus Carr McVeigh LLC, Act Anno in the Supreme Court, Suffolk County, under index number 617144-2021. So moved.
Second.
Vote please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 165.
Classified special permit and site plan application of 374 Main Road LLC as a type 1 action pursuant to SECRA and requests lead agency status for coordinating SECRA review 374 Main Road, Aquabog, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map number 600-85-3-1.5. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 166.
Authorizes the filing of an application for New York State assistance from the Household Hazardous Waste State Assistance Program and signing of the associated state contract under the appropriate laws of New York State. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 167.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an agreement with the Nassau County Police Athletic League lacrosse unit for referee, umpire services, and team fees for Town of Riverhead Police Athletic League Boys Lacrosse Program grades K through 8 for 2022 calendar year. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 168.
Authorizes engineering department to contract with Musco Sport Lighting LLC and order material for ball field light installation. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 169.
Authorizes Lawrence M. Levy, DBA On-Site Productions, non-proton, to provide additional audiovisual production services for the Town of Riverhead 2022 inauguration. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 170.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a license agreement with Broadcast Music, Inc., BMI. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 171.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute a musical works license agreement with SESAC. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 172.
Authorizes renewal of a Music Works license agreement with the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, ASCAP, non-proton. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 173.
Authorizes the Water District Superintendent to execute memorandum of understanding with T-Mobile Northeast LLC related to generated power supply at plant number 9. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 174.
Authorizes final amendment and addendum to contract between the Town of Riverhead and European American Waste Disposal Corp. For residential solid waste collection and disposal services for the Riverhead Refuse and Garbage District. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Going to abstain with the explanation that although I don't see any conflict or personal conflict with this resolution at this time, in abundance of caution and keeping open in government, my son does study sustainability and is retiring and has more than likely will work for different waste company managements. And so for his future career paths, I just don't want to be part of any direction, and so I'm going to abstain at this time.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 175.
Authorizes the creation of a para-abled Program S, American Rescue Recovery Grant Fund Committee. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 176.
Authorizes the creation of the Assistance to the Business Entities and Not-for-Profits Related to Arts, Entertainment, Leisure, and Hospitality American Rescue Recovery Grant Fund Review Committee. So moved.
Second.
Can I have a second? Thank you. Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 177.
Authorizes one-year renewal of agreement with Property Registrations Champions, DBA Pro Champs. So moved.
Seconded?
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 178.
Authorizes the supervisor to execute an amendment to agreement with Daniel Bauer, DBA Road K Productions, for filming at Iron Pier Beach. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 179.
Authorizes license agreement with Research Foundation of State University of New York for installation of fish passage camera at Grangeville Park. So moved.
Second.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 180.
Acceptance of donation from Massapequa Water District. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes, thank you for Frank and Anne Marie for really working and putting this together, so this is very helpful, appreciated. It's not a town board meeting unless we vote for improvement of water. So I vote yes.
Bayrock.
Yes. Thank you to Stan Carey for being so generous and helping us out. Thank you.
Yes, it was directed towards Dan, thanks.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 181.
Accepts recommendation of the Riverhead Railroad Street Transit Orientated Development Committee to designate RXR/GGV master developer for TOD and authorizes Community Development Agency and NDC to commence negotiation of relevant terms to proceed pursuant to general municipal law, qualified and eligible hearing. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted. Resolution 182.
Town of Riverhead, pay bills. So moved.
Seconded.
Vote, please.
Kern.
Yes.
Rothwell.
Yes.
Bayrock.
Yes.
Hubbard.
Yes.
Aguirre.
Yes.
Resolution adopted.
Okay, thank you, Diane, and this concludes our resolutions for today. And at this point, we're going to open up for the meeting for public comments on any other matter. Devin, is there anyone via Zoom or in the audience?
Nobody in Zoom, but we do have a few folks in the room here, Supervisor.
No, okay.
Astrid Lehman, Bating Hollow. Okay, so I misspoke, I apologize. I thought that was still part of the community development. It's a very interesting thing that I came across here, and I just looked at the plans that I was given for the Railroad Avenue, and they look really nice, okay? It looks like it could be pretty good. But I will tell you that this is the same company, if I'm understanding correctly now, based on that brochure, that put the existing big brick building downtown, the Peconic Brewery building, is that correct? Yes?
He's one of the developers
Yes,
named in,
okay.
yes.
That building is really, really an eyesore to me, and I don't think I'm the only person who thinks that. And it's really funny because I was clearing out a lot of paperwork, I was looking up old sports memorabilia from school, whatever, and I happened to come across an article from quite a long time ago. Aquarium clears key hurdle. Decision on parking, paves path for expansion, and new hotel. Well, the rendering of this picture looks absolutely nothing like what we got. Now, I know you guys weren't here then, and there were lots of well-meaning people that want to do a lot of nice things, but it seems like we get a lot of bait and switch as a public. And I'm really asking you to make them do their due diligence, because they're saying they're so committed in this brochure, that they in fact deliver on the goods with an aesthetic look. Because right now, that building is really stinking ugly. And I'm not so sure that they're not gonna like go after the Salvation Army building, tear that down, and then build there as well. And then we'll have another monolithic, unattractive building. It doesn't do anything for the riverfront either.
Can I just, I totally agree with you. And the building the designs that were submitted were actually rejected by some of the committees in the town. So you are absolutely right. And my recommendation is for anyone, any member of the town, when, like even in this presentation, go to the ARB, go to the Landmarks Committee, because it's all open to the public, where they look at these kind of buildings and then make decisions and, be part of that decision-making. I totally agree with you. The original
And I
building was
understand what
beautiful.
you're saying, and, I'm not somebody who's, afraid of becoming involved. But honestly, we kind of elect everybody to represent us and the good things, right? That we want them to represent us in a good way. And honestly, I feel like, why do we have to babysit somebody that's on a committee that's supposed to represent the town in general, so that they don't deliver a poor product, that they reject a better, something that was good, that was rejected, I mean, I feel a little disappointed in that whole design element piece, okay? So,
You have to look at who is on the town board at that time, and then that's who made the decisions. I can tell you.
right,
I
I'm not
was
blaming you, I'm asking you for future reference to deliver what it's supposed to look like in an aesthetic way, so that we're not stuck with this disgusting buildings, because they're not a boon to the town. They don't do
totally agree
anything
with
for
you.
us.
The original building, the original sketches that he proposed, I liked. But once they went through the process and got before the Architectural Review Board, changes were made. They requested changes. Now, they're not a voting agency where they can demand changes, but the recommendation of that agency is generally, the town board generally holds their decisions and goes along with them. In this case, it wasn't, to me, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but what's there now looks like a school or a hospital.
It really looks like Soviet bloc housing.
Yeah, it's not as attractive as it was once presented. I was on the board when it came before the board, and we sat here one day for a couple of hours, painful hours, just trying to decide the color of it. Because there was so many people involved in the process.
Right.
To me, it's the old saying, too many chefs in the kitchen.
I
What he
understand.
originally presented, I think, would have been much nicer.
Well, I mean, you should take a look at this was a Danford-style hotel, and then we got like this commercial Hyatt facade. And so this is something that's been going on a long time. So clearly, if there are people on the architectural committee,
Ma'am, you have less than 30 seconds left.
whatever, maybe they need to be replaced.
Okay. Thank you for your comment. Devin, do we have anyone else?
Yes, we do.
Hi, good evening.
My name is Bill Fullerton, Fullerton, 52 Golden Spruce Drive, Baiting Hollow, 11933. I'd like to discuss an accident where a dear friend of mine was killed on exactly 2 months ago today, December 15th, at Horton Avenue and Reeves Avenue. But before I go into that, I'd like to give you a little bit about my background. I'm retired from New York City Police Department, and for over 14 years of my time there, I was in Highway Patrol. I was part of the Accident Investigation Squad, where we would only be called out in fatal accidents and ones in which they thought someone might die. We would arrive at the scene and take photographs, measurements, and later do a sketch to scale, try to reconstruct the accident, determine who was at fault, why it happened, and where warranted, make recommendations as to how it might be prevented in the future at that location. So getting back to December 15th, my friend was on Reeves Avenue heading west. At that intersection, there was a stop sign for westbound Reeves Avenue and also eastbound Reeves Avenue. but there are no traffic control devices for north or south on Horton. In fact, if you traverse Horton Avenue from the circle at Middle Road, the first sign you'll see is speed limit 30. It's about a tenth of a mile from the circle. The next sign is 2/10 after that. It's approximate. The speedometer or odometer in my car is not calibrated, but as close as I can make out. So approximately 3/10 of a mile from the circle is another sign which reads speed limit 30. A half mile from the circle is a sign that reads end speed limit 30. And there are no other signs for over a mile and a half till you get to Sound Avenue where there is a stop sign. So the dump truck, which was loaded with soil that struck my friend's car, I don't think he had a limit after he passed that no limit 30 miles an hour sign. He could have been doing, I'm not faulting him, he could have been doing 30, 40, 60, 80. How can you fault him? There's no speed signs. My friend may have gone through the stop sign, or maybe he stopped and didn't see the truck coming down when he entered the intersection. He was struck when he was on the northbound lane of Horton Avenue, heading west. The truck driver swerved at the last minute after he struck the car and turned the truck over on its side, dumping the entire load of soil. My friend's car ended up facing south and west in the intersection. Thankfully, he was killed instantly. His passenger was airlifted to Stony Brook, where she recovered from minor injuries. Psychologically, she'll never be the same. So I'm asking the board to do whatever they can within their power. I don't know if it's a county thing or a town or a state. I don't know who is responsible for signage or traffic control devices in the town, but I'm begging you and pleading with you to put some kind of traffic control device on Horton Avenue, northbound, southbound, at that Reeves Avenue intersection. My suggestion, if I were in charge, so to speak, I would have a flashing light above the intersection for all four directions, such as we have outside of our condominium. We have a red light flashing when we come out onto Middle Road, and so does Foxwood Village across the way. They have a red flashing light. Middle Road has an amber flashing light for whatever good it does, because they're flying by there lately. 22-wheelers, 26-wheelers are rolling down that road now, so we really have to be careful coming out of our condo. Thank you for your time.
So
Thank you,
there's
Bill,
a,
and thank you for your service. And the police chief is tasked, and he is looking into the investigation. He's looking into possible traffic control device. And is the chief with us today?
Yes.
Yeah, can we have Chief Helga Miller come forward, please?
While he's coming up, I just want to say quickly, I responded shortly after, I didn't respond, I happened to be driving by shortly after Bill, and I witnessed what was now a DOA accident. It was a terrible tragedy. But I came before this board and I said, we need to do something. We need to either do a four-way stop sign or something, because this could have been prevented for many, many reasons. It's a little tricky, this intersection, because there are deer fence and then there's fencing on the cemetery, so it's hard to see the traffic going north and south when you're inching up to the stop sign. And I think this could have been prevented with a stop sign, or like you are recommending, some kind of a lighting. But either way, it was a terrible tragedy, and I thank you for coming up and reminding us of it.
I happened to be one of the first cars there before the police arrived, and it was horrible. Thanks again.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Supervisor?
Good evening, Chief.
How you doing? Yeah, so at that intersection right now, we do have oversized stop signs east and west on Reeves Avenue. It was a tragic accident, and we are looking into somehow highlighting those stop signs so they are maybe more visible. But they are oversized.
Is there any plan for north and south stop signs?
We're looking into
We're
that too.
looking into it, okay,
Right.
good. I will just-
Stop signs are not meant to reduce speed, they're meant
I
to
get it, I get it.
regulate
I
traffic,
will just
so.
harken back to that day, and like Bill said, this was a loaded 10-wheel dump truck, and it actually wound up dumping onto one of my sod farms. But there is a gradual increase to Horton Avenue as you go north.
Right.
So, in fairness, he had to build up some speed to get his load going, and it was a god-awful tragedy. I'm not saying it wasn't, but I think something at that intersection to slow down the traffic north and south has to be done.
Unposted roadway too is 55 miles an hour. So
Yeah, is there any chance we can drop that down to 30?
we can, well, as you know, we can't set our speed limits, but we can have the state do.
Right, but and it's a long process, I know that
Right,
too.
we have to
but
do a TE9.
It's something we should probably also do, along with the enhanced stop signs and.
We're looking into it.
Thanks, Chief.
All right, thank you, Chief. Devin, do we have anyone else?
Couple more.
Hi, Ellen Hoyle, Riverhead. I had two comments I wanted to make. One was to Astrid's comment about the committees and the downtown buildings and the aesthetics. You know, when I was in the audience, I was listening to how it was the committees that had changed the aesthetics of the building, so when it came to the town, it didn't look like what it was. But it ultimately comes down to the town to vote on the approval of that design. And it's not enough that you say, well, you know, we usually do what the committees say. It's you people up there are the ones that we elected, and it's your job to protect us from a bad design. I mean, that's your sole job, is to vote on these things and decide that, no, this isn't okay, and send it back to a committee and say, give us what we really wanted. So the fact that a committee is telling you that this is what they voted on and this is what they approved isn't the end-all of what the argument is. It should be up to you to say, no, we're not going to vote for this. The second thing was, now that I got the clarification from Anne Marie as to the $20,000 and that it went from Tim, that it went back to 2018 and it's been going on forever, the question then becomes, well, why wasn't it in the budget in the first place? Why are we now voting on this as an exception to the budget that has to get adjusted? And so that's the real question, is how did this $20,000 get missed? Okay, that's it.
Thank you for your comment. It wasn't missed, it was.
So then why are we voting,
Knowing
why
that
did
there
we
was a
vote on this then?
Helen, let me finish. Knowing that there was a possibility, there was going to be a new superintendent. We didn't know if whoever became the new superintendent would take on that responsibility. And that's it. And now we're.
That makes no sense, because it's been investigated, and for the last 3 years, it's been the highway superintendent's job. So why would you not budget?
It's not the
The
highway
$20,000.
superintendent's job, it's
It's
outside
not.
the scope.
But for the last, since 2018, there's been $20,000 allocated to the highway superintendent for the running of the garage.
Doesn't
Why
mean
would
that
you
the new
not budget for
superintendent
that
wanted to do
$20,000?
it.
What?
It doesn't mean that the new superintendent
No, I
wanted to
know
do
that,
it.
but why would you not
That's right.
already budget for it ahead of time? And say, okay, well, that's not what we're gonna use it for. It's called budgeting for a reason. You allocate the $20,000, and then you say, oh, wait, no, we're not gonna give it to you,
You
we're gonna
can
give it to
budget
somebody
for it,
else.
but you still have to appoint someone to do it. That's what
But
we're
it
doing
seems like it
tonight.
wasn't in the budget. From when I read the
Bill?
original budget, it
Is
wasn't
Bill
in
there?
there.
Bill's coming up now.
Bill, can you come forward? I know we worked on this.
It is budgeted
It was.
in the garage line. So for whoever the board decided was going to take on that responsibility could be compensated for it.
If they accept it.
Well, obviously, it has to go both ways. The person would want to take the job, and the board would want to appoint that person.
Exactly.
But the money's in the garage budget, not the highway budget. It's not a highway function.
Okay, that's all clear then. Thank you, Bill. Devin, do we have anyone else?
Anybody else for comments?
Do we have anyone
Open
on Zoom?
topic. Chip, anybody on Zoom? Looks like that's it, Supervisor.
Okay, so this is going to conclude our public comments on any matter concerning town, and it's the end of the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Can I have a first and a second to close this town board meeting?
So moved.
Motion?
All
Second.
opposed? All in favor? So move. And please be safe.
Chip, you won the